Hi everybody, and welcome back to the Stamperia Ooh La La mini album tutorial series designed for Scrap and Create. As a reminder, all of the products that I'm using from the Ooh La La collection are linked in the description box below to the Scrap and Create website, so you can just go ahead and click on those links to purchase all of these products to follow along with the tutorial. So let's get started. In today's tutorial, we're going to begin decorating the front of page 3. I've removed the pieces of washi that were holding my belly band on the page. I have a piece of my ribbon that's 3 inches, and I'm going to be adding a loop to my page just like I've been doing on the previous ones. So this one, I'm going to actually be putting a magnet probably in the middle, maybe down here, depending on how I do the back page, but I'm going to actually place my ribbon over here off to the side because I don't want it sticking out the edge of my album. So I'm just going to add my adhesive to this side here on the edge. And then I'm going to curl this up just like I've done previously. And I'm going to make sure that the loop is on the page. It doesn't stick down below the page. And I want to make sure that it's far enough from this edge. The paper is going to cover it as well. So it is, the edge is about 3/8 of an inch from the edge of my page. Then I've cut a piece of my light blue paper to 5 3/4 by 8 inches. I've rounded the corners on the right-hand side and inked my edges. I will be placing this here on top of my flap, covering the ribbon ends. Next, I'm going to take my belly band and place adhesive on the bottom edges, or the bottom and top edges, I guess I should say. And then I'm going to place this here in the center of the page. I did use my ruler and marked this ahead of time. So it's 1 3/4 inches from the center of the page. And I would adhere this down. Then from my 8 by 8 papers, I've cut this paper to 3 1/4 by 8 inches, and I'm going to place it here in the center of my belly band. From this 12 by 12 paper, I have cut a strip off that is 3 1/2 inches, and then I cut a piece to 5 3/4, and then another piece to 5 3/4, so I just trimmed the green off this edge. And for this one, I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to fussy cut around the edge. And then once it gets to the tip of this petal, I'm just going to cut it straight across. Once I have my piece cut, I also rounded the corner and then inked my edges. This piece is going to go here down at the bottom of the flap. And then I've cut a piece of my light blue paper to 4 1/4, 5 3/4 by 4 1/4. And I'm going to tuck this down here so that it is just barely tucked underneath on both sides and in the center of here so you don't see the edge. And then my other piece, I measured up 1 1/2 inches from the bottom edge on both sides, and I drew a very faint line across here. Now I'm going to be fussy cutting these flowers until I get to this line. I'm going to cut straight across because I want to cover the edge of this. I don't want to be able to see that pink paper. Once I have the bottom portion fussy cut, I inked my edges. I also rounded the top left corner. And then this piece is going to go right here. So now that I know where it goes, I'm going to very carefully remove these 2 pieces while I keep my photo mat where it needs to go. And I'm just going to mark here on these edges because they will all 4 be covered by paper, so you won't see that. but I need to know where I'm going to be placing my photo mat. And I'm going to adhere this one down to the page. It's not going to be a removable photo mat. So I'm going to place it there first, and then I'm going to add those decorative papers on the top and the bottom so that the paper that's overlapping the photo mat is not glued down, but most of the piece that's on the bottom or top above is going to be adhered down, and the photo will slide up underneath those fussy cut pieces. So now that I have that one on, I'm going to go ahead and just double check and look and see. So it looks like if I go just below, between 1/8 and 1/4 of an inch below that side piece, and then I'm just going to go straight across here so I know where to place my adhesive on the other side. So I will have my adhesive, nothing on these top portions that are overlapping the photo mat. And I need to make sure that I line up the edges of my decorative paper with the edges of the blue photo mat so that everything looks good when it's on the page. And so this should work, and everything is good with that one. Same thing with this one, starting on this side first, making sure that I leave between 1/8 and 1/4 of an inch from that top edge so that my photo will have room to slide underneath of there without getting caught because the paper is over top the photo mat. So again, lining up those edges, making sure I've got that nice border at the top, and then adhering this piece down. I did forget to place my magnet on my page before I put my papers down, so I'm going to just remedy that by placing my magnet here and then covering it with one of the cut-aparts. So I'm going to place it, let's see, about here. That should be good. So this is, the center is about 1 inch from the left edge and about 1 inch down from the bottom. And then I'm just going to take this piece and apply my adhesive and cover this like that. I'm just going to press my paper around the magnet until it adheres down. And then I will take my coordinating magnet and close the flap to place the magnet here, and that will be covered by the background paper. So I've got my background paper from the 12 by 12 sheet. This is 5 3/4 by 9 1/2, and I'm going to place it here on the page. Next, I've cut one of the lighter blue papers to 4 1/4 by 6 1/4, inked the edges on both sides. I'm going to take this girl first. She's from, I believe, the collectibles sheet, and I'm going to place her down here on the edge of my paper so that her bottom heel is in the corner here. She covers up the edge of the paper. And I'm going to mark this here. I've already traced around her foot so I know where she needs to go. And I'm going to then place just a thin line of adhesive down the side and just onto that bottom section where her foot is, and then place her back on the page. Then I've got this sticker or this cut apart here from the 8x8 paper. And I'm going to tuck it underneath her hat. So it's just going to be this edge and part of the top that I will tuck there and adhere that down. Flipping over, I've got this one that I'm going to place her even with the other one. They are the same silhouette, just different colors. So I'm going to first, actually I think I'll put this first. So I've got the other 8x8 since it'll go underneath her hat anyway. And I'm going to just add my adhesive to the back of this paper and just a little tiny bit on the back of my mat. And I'll place this one down first. Just lining everything up so it's straight and even and sandwiching the mat between those. And then I will add my adhesive to the back of the girl on the front of the mat. Don't forget her foot, and then just a little tiny bit up the edge of the mat. And then I will place her down and line everything up. So now I have my photo mat. The magnet is right here, and I'm going to make sure my photo mat is just below the magnet, and I'm going to bring it over here, just past the decorative paper, but I don't want her hat and her skirt to go into the score line, and I want her feet to be above where this flap is. I did already make a little mark so that I knew where this was going to go whenever I was planning on where to put her. So you want to make sure that you have that figured out. And then we're going to put all this stuff together. So this is from the 12x12 paper, and I've got the 2 cards inside. I've already folded the envelope together and glued the bottom flaps. I'm going to leave it open on the page like this, but I'm going to build up this stuff here. So first I'm just going to come in here and add a little tiny bit of adhesive to adhere those 3 pieces together. Then I'm going to come in this direction and add some more adhesive. And apply this here to the front of my envelope. I'm going to move my cards out of the way for just a minute and make sure that I don't have any adhesive in the wrong spot. This doesn't have any back here, so I'm just going to add a little bit more adhesive so that that is adhered down. Then I'm going to curl these up slightly. Got these 2 cards that I will just place in my envelope, and now I'm going to place my flower, just the bottom portion. I'm going to adhere down to here, and then with the leaf I'm going to place it here. And I'll put my envelope on the page like this. It's going to be a tuck spot, but I want to make sure that it is hidden by my flap so that you can't see it. So I will put it here. I'm just going to mark where this is going to go and then apply my adhesive just along the bottom edge and the right edge. And I'm just gonna lay this right back where I had it and adhere this down to the page. So now my mat will tuck right behind my little envelope. My magnet is here, so the mat is not in the way of it, and everything is good. This does add a little bit of bulk, but not too much that I can't still close my page. So I'm going to leave this like that, and then I'll come here. I'm going to add a photo mat under the belly band, and then we're going to build up the belly band. From the 12 by 12 papers, I'm going to place this journaling card underneath the belly band. Now, if you want to place a photo mat here instead, you can, but I'm going to leave that. So you could place either a photo or journal on this, or put a photo on the front and journal on the back. Really, it's whatever you would choose to do. Now, to embellish this, first I've got my blue, my last large blue flower cluster, and I'm going to place it here on top of my papers. But just like the first one that we had, I'm going to smash these down a little bit just so that they aren't quite as bulky. And then I'm going to be placing my flower piece here. So I'll do that first, adding my adhesive to the back side to make sure that it's adhered onto the page really well. For now, I'm going to smash it down so that it's adhered, and then I will fluff it up in a little bit. And then for the center here, I have a couple of different flower pieces. I've cut down into them and popped up the edges like I've been doing on the previous pages, just so I can add some dimension. I'm going to add this one here right over top of the flowers that were already on the page. And then I have this one, which is very similar to the one that's on there. Going to add my adhesive here and adhere this to this side over here. For this one down here, I have cut this, and I'm going to adhere it down so that it's this direction and only the one leaf is sticking off of the bottom. I have a leaf that I've cut out of one of the 8 by 8 papers that I'm going to place over here. And then I have 2 of the macaroons from the chipboard set. I'm going to just place adhesive on both of them for now. And then I'm going to adhere them here over top of these 2. I'm going to overlap them like this and adhere those down to the front. I'm going to come back. This should be dry enough that I can come back and scrunch this up to get a little bit of dimension from it. Same thing here. And this is it for the front of page 3 and this tutorial. If you are just joining me for this tutorial series, don't forget to check all of the links in the description box below for all of the products from the Stamperia Ooh La La collection, including the papers, the chipboard, and the die cuts, and then also the flowers that I'm using too. Those are all available on the Scrap and Create website in the links below. See you in the next tutorial.